Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. This morning, we complete week 118 of Meaningful Mornings. Relax your body, enjoy breathing, and appreciate what you have. Purnamadaha Purnam Idam. In English, this means infinity is far and infinity is near. Completeness is far, completeness is near. I've always been shocked at Thanksgiving culture in America and how materialistic it is. You know you're a materialist if you're always planning for what you want. If you're planning for what you want, then you're forgetting that infinity completeness is here and now. Quietude of mind provides that taste, and we have been tasting this for 118 weeks. As we go about living, we do experience greatness. Bodies of water are great. Mountains are great. Within this greatness, there's the greatest, like the Pacific Ocean. In Sanskrit, what is so lovely about the Pacific Ocean, it's called Shanta Sagara. See, from the word Shanta, or peace, comes pacify or Pacific. The greatest amongst mountains is the Himalaya, that which keeps growing. When you attribute greatness or the greatest to that entity itself, the Pacific Ocean is great because it's the Pacific Ocean. The Himalaya is great because it's the Himalaya. Then that's called Laukika Yoga. It is making one more worldly. Or another word I've used, materialistic. When you attribute that greatness, the greatest, to the divine, or God is the word I'm using, the three G's, greatness, greatest, God, then that is Vibhuti Yoga. One is uniting to the foundation. This is what Sri Krishna is training us in, to be deeper. Some of the recent directions he's been guiding us to. Example number 16, the greatest is Bhrigu. Why? He is close to Bhagavan Vishnu. If you want to become the greatest, be close to divinity. 17, Akshara. The sound symbol of Om. I'm sure many of you have noticed that I have an Om tattoo. When Sheila and I had traveled to the West Coast before our children, we drove from Niagara Falls to beside Alaska. It was my birthday while we were in Jasper, Alberta. And I came to this realization, I feel I've lived 1/3 of my life, just a projection, and that I haven't lived the first third of my life in a meaningful way. And so this tattoo is a reminder to me that the only purpose of my hands, really my life, is to serve him. So this is my reminder. I don't do this for fashion. I don't do this to make a statement. That's why this Om is not facing you, correct? It's facing me. I'm only explaining this. Shri Krishna shares, the greatest is japa. Japa is meaningful repetition. I'm reading what Pujya Swami Chinmayananda has written about japa. As such, in one form or the other, thought repetition of the same species is the attempt in all sadhanas. No doubt, japa is a path in itself, having an independent existence of its own, but at the same time, and in one form or other, it is the core of all the other paths. What Pujya Swami Chinmayananda is sharing is japa encourages focus. The focused mind can be deepened to be a reflective mind. Just like a magnifying glass, if those rays are not focused, that paper can't burn. You can't go deeper. Once there's focus, you can be reflective. Shri Krishna shares the greatest is the Himalaya. I've shared that the Himalaya is an icon of endurance. When we learn how to endure more, in Sanskrit this is called titiksha, then we're able to protect more. I'd also shared with you, the Himalaya protects the environment, protects Bharat. Those who are always complaining, are lost in likes and dislikes. They themselves are vulnerable in a negative way. How can they provide protection to others? This whole month I've been working intensely on preparing for our upcoming yatra. On Sunday night, I fly to Trinidad. There's 90 of us who are traveling to Trinidad. That's an incomparable amount of administration. And my point in all of this is, suppose I come to our yatra and I complain about the food, about the schedule, then how are the rest of the yatris going to be? They're already complainers. That's going to be compounded. Shri Krishna shares that the greatest is the Ashvatha. I'm going to read each of these quarters, then we'll get into our next verse. Ashvatha sarva vrikshanam. The greatest is the Ashvatha, the peepal tree, the fig tree. The Ashvatha takes up big space and big time, but big is not the biggest, is not infinite. And so Shri Krishna is taking us to that which is big and then sharing, go deeper to the infinite. Like for us, so many of us learn that you should live in the present, but in our community, we know that deeper than the present is the presence. The presence. If you don't go to the deepest, you will feel fear. The Ashvatha symbolizes change. Change symbolizes death. What is the feeling of death? Fear. Deva Rishinam cha Naradaha. The greatest is Rishi Narada. Rishi Narada is the third incarnation of Bhagavan Narayana. Srimad Bhagavatam, this is all shared. He is the third. I want to give you one more interpretation of the word Narada, Narayana, etc. Nara means ego, the collection of egos, or us. Ayana means path. So when you recall Rishi Narada, what is he always doing? He has those musical instruments and he's sharing Narayana, correct? What he's sharing is to the egos, to Vivek, your ayana, your path is divinity. And if you follow this path, another word for ayana is presence. That the ego is the greatest, it's the greatest facet of us, but beyond that is presence. So the greatest is Rishi Narada. Gandharvanam Chitrarataha. The Gandharvas are performing artists. In heaven, there are performing artists. That's who the Gandharvas are, specifically in terms of music. North of Niagara Falls, there's a city called St. Catharines, and there's a band from St. Catharines called the Gandharvas. They're quite good. I listen to them. They're not sacred musicians. They're just musicians, okay? And amongst these performing artists, Chitraratha is the greatest. Now, it would take me a month to explain to you all of the references to Chitraratha in so many itihasas, which means historical books, Puranas, educational books. All we need to know is the purpose of performing arts, whether you sing or dance, is to tune into divinity. If it's not, then it's just a performance. And finally, Siddhanam Kapilo Munihi. Amongst the Siddhas, the greatest is Kapila. Kapila, Rishi Kapila, is the 5th incarnation of Bhagavan Narayana. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, he's number 5. Now, some application for all of us. The word Siddha means the one who has reached the ends, the one who is enlightened. Technically, the one who is now feeling the sadhya. They're feeling independent joy. Okay? That's our potential. How do we get there? What is our path? Be a muni. And I've shared this many times. Please tell me in the chat, how does one practice being a muni? Doesn't come with facial hair. It doesn't come with ornamentation or a change in name. Being reflective, being silent, all correct. For us, manana shilavan, the one who regularly, sincerely practices reflection. They have good reflection hygiene. We have sleep hygiene, oral hygiene. This is reflection hygiene. Continuing, the next verse is quite light, so I'm just skimming over this. Vijayaswami Chinmayananda writes, not satisfied yet, the Lord is vigorously trying through finer examples and words to convey his infinite glory to the data-mongering and worldly intellect of his warrior friend, Arjuna. Data-mongering, that's good. Verse 27. Uchay Shavasamashvanam Vidhi Mam Amritodbhavam Airavatam Gajendranam Naranam Cha Naradhipam. There's a lot of context to these, so I'm just going to speak them out. Amongst all horses, horses are great. The greatest is Uchay Shavasa. Then Gajendranam, amongst elephants, the greatest is Airavata. And finally, Naranam, amongst humans, the greatest is Naradipam, which means the king. For us, the application of this verse is another word for king is Raja, which comes from Rajati. Rajati, which means to shine. The one who is responsible shines. The one who is irresponsible becomes dull. And that means all of us are to be the greatest amongst humans, those who follow their dharma. More context will be shared tomorrow. This is all relating to the churning of the Milky Ocean. I'll tell you more stories tomorrow. From inspiration to application, your recent application was to have a meeting with Rishi Kapila for him to rate how you're using your opportunity. You can share your percentages in the chat. For Vivek, I would put my number at 70%. That I have vices that I need to be more actively investing in to be like him. Your application for today is I want you to do some research on COP27, the environmental conference that is happening in Egypt right now. That too at a luxury resort. Please do some research on that so that we're more tuned into what I will share tomorrow. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be joy.